Hello, Algebra 2. Today we're going to look at systems of equations, 2 by 2s, and we're going to solve them by substitution. Okay? Substitution literally means plug in. Okay? So what does that mean? Right now, in number 1, when we look at number 1, we're going to substitute in. We're going to do it by substitution. Notice it sets you up for substitution because one of your equations already says either an x equals or a y equals. This one right here says y equals. Y is all by itself. It says equals 9 minus x. Okay? So what that means is we're literally going to take this 9 minus x, which is equal to y, and we're going to substitute it into that spot right there. Okay? And this is what we literally write. 9. So 2x minus big giant blank space equals -3. Remember, this big giant blank space represented the y. But we're going to take this blank space, this y, and we're going to substitute in the 9 minus x. Okay? So now I only have one equation with only x's in it. And we're going to solve for x now. So that means I have to distribute the negative sign. Remember, if you need to, put your little imaginary 1 there, so we're distributing a -1. So I'm going to write down the 2x, and now I'm going to just multiply everything by a -1. I'm going to change the signs. So -9 plus x equals -3. Now I'm going to combine like terms. Okay. All right, here I'm going to add 9. And then I can divide. So x equals 2. Now, we did the hard stuff. We found x. We found one of the letters. We found x. So since I know what x equals 2, I have to substitute it back in. I have to plug back in to find the other value. And now notice, we could use either equation. It doesn't matter which one we should use. I'm going to use this equation up here because it says y equals 9 minus x. We know what x equals. X equals 2, so you can do the rest in your head. I'm going to write it out. So y equals 9 minus blank. Remember, our blank is this 2 right here. So we just plug them back in. So 9 minus 2 is 7. So there we go. X equals 2, y equals 7. So we just answered the question. Okay. Pretty easy. Here's my next one. Another substitution. Notice you have your two equations. We don't know, in this bottom equation, notice it said 6a plus 7b. None of them say, this bottom equation does not say an a equals or a b equals. Up here we know b equals. It says b equals this mess. Okay? So that means all of this goes right there. So I'm going to write 6a plus 7 big giant blank space equals 3. Inside this big giant, remember this big giant blank space represented the b value. Well, b is equal to 5a minus 23. Now it's just a matter of doing our work. I have to distribute the 7. So I got 6a plus 35a minus 161 equals 3. 7 times 23. Type that into your calculator. Now I'm going to combine those. So I have 41a minus 161 equals 3. Then I'll add 161 to both sides. Now I just have to divide. And when I divide by 41, A equals 4. Okay. Again, we did the hard stuff. We know there, A equals 4, so all I have to do is take this. I'm going to use this equation up top. A lot easier to use this one up here. 5 times 4 minus 23. You could do that right in your head. So B is equal to 5 times what our A value minus 23. And our A value was a 4. So then B equals, you can do this in your head, 5 times 4 is 20. Minus 23 is a negative 3. Do it in your head, type it into the calculator, just write it down. There we go, all done. Okay, A equals 4, B equals negative 3. So we just did substitution. Okay, 5A minus 23 was equal to B, we popped it in right there. Okay. And, y equaled 9 minus x. Plugged it in for the y. Plugged it in right there. Okay, and then the rest was your algebra. Okay, that's substitution. Now we're going to do same thing. Now we're going to do elimination method. Elimination method is a little bit different. We usually just say elimination method, but it's technically elimination by addition. What does that mean? That means we're going to be adding these equations together, and we want to hope that either the x's cancel or the y's cancel by addition. What does that mean? Well, in order for two things to cancel out, they would have to be opposite numbers, a positive 5 and a negative 5. You add a positive 5 and a negative 5 together, you get 0. They cancel themselves out. So right now, if I add these two equations together, nothing's opposite. There are no opposite values here. I have opposite signs, but there's no opposite values, so that a letter will cancel out. So right now, you have a big decision to make. What letter do you want to get rid of? You get rid of the x's, you get rid of the y's. Close your eyes, it does not matter. I'm going to start by getting rid of the x's in this one, and the next one I'll get rid of the y's. Okay? Does not matter which one you get rid of. Okay? So usually the rule of thumb is this. If I'm going to get rid of the x's, whatever number's on the bottom, I multiply to the top. And whatever number's at the top, I multiply to the bottom. Okay? That works 90% of the time. Okay? We just have to worry about signs. Okay? So if I'm going to get rid of the x's, I need these two values in front of the x to be opposites of each other. One has to be a positive, one has to be a negative, but they have to be opposite number. They have to be the opposite number. Positive 8 and a negative 8. A positive 50 and a negative 50. Okay? And so now we're going to do some multiplication to make these opposites. So whatever number's on the bottom, I multiply to the top. So I'll multiply the top by a 3. And then I'll multiply the bottom by a 2. So whatever's numbers at the top, I multiply to the bottom. Whatever's at the bottom, I multiply to the top. There's only one problem, though. These are both positives. So when I start multiplying these out, they'll both be a positive 6. Well, if you add two positive 6s, you're going to get 12. You're not going to get them to cancel. So one of these needs to be a negative. And the only time this happens is when they're both positives here. So close your eyes, make one of them negative. It does not matter which one you make negative, you have to make one of them negative. Okay? I'm going to close my eyes, I'm going to make the top negative. So I'll make the top a negative 3. So now we're going to multiply the top by a negative 3. And I'm going to work horizontally, then down. So I'm going to distribute my negative 3. Remember, multiply everything by negative 3. So I have a negative 6x, a plus 9y equals negative 3. So I multiplied everything by a negative 3. Now down here, I'm going to multiply everything by the 2. So I have 6x plus 10y equals 22. Okay? So notice, remember, Whatever number is at the bottom, we multiply to the top. Whatever is at the top, we multiply to the bottom. That works 90% of the time. However, in this case, it wasn't working. We had to worry about a sign because these were both positives. So we needed opposite signs. Close your eyes, you make one of them negative. I made the top negative. Now we add. When I add, things are supposed to cancel. So I'm going to add these equations together, and when I add, my x's cancel out. Now I'm adding positive 9, positive 10, 19y. I'm adding negative 3 and 22 is a 19. Oh, I just got to divide by 19, y equals 1. So now we just got y equals 1. Now, just like before, we have to find the x. So pick an equation. It does not matter which one you want to use. We got to find x. So I'll use the top. So 2x minus 3 equals 1. Our y value was a 1. I'll pop it in there. So 2x minus 3 equals 1. I'll add 3 to both sides. And then I divide. We're done. Okay. If you want to check, go for it. Plug it in. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 1 is 5. Add them up, you get 11. Okay, so we just did elimination. Okay, now, on this next one, on number 2, again, this is setting this up for elimination. All your x's are lined up, all the y's are lined up, the equal signs, the constants are all lined up. Okay, so again, this is another elimination. Again, you make your decision as to what letter you want to get rid of. You can get rid of the x's, you can get rid of the y's, it does not matter. Well, if we got rid of the x's, we'd have that same issue. They're both positives, so when you do your multiplication, one of them would need to be a negative. Okay? In this problem, I'm going to get rid of the y's. Just I wanted you to see. Notice how these signs are opposites. Okay, since my signs are opposites, I don't have to worry about multiplying by a negative number. The signs are already opposites. But the rule still applies. Whatever number's at the top, you multiply to the bottom. Whatever number's at the bottom, you multiply to the top. So if I'm getting rid of the y's, the signs are already opposite, so I don't have to worry about any issues with signs. So multiply the top by a 5 and the bottom by a 2. So multiply. Okay, remember, these signs are already opposites, so I don't have to worry about opposite signs here. These signs were both positives. One of them needed to be a negative. All right, so I'm just going to start multiplying by 5. So I have 15x plus 10y equals 155. Yeah, 5 times 31. 5, 15, yep, 155. Then I multiply by the bottom by a 2. 4x minus 10y equals 16. And I can add them up. Remember, elimination is done by addition. So now I'm adding. 15 and 4 is 19x. Positive 10, negative 10, woohoo, they cancel out. Equals, I add this up, 155 and 16 is 171, right? 6 and 5 is 1, carry the 1. Yeah, there you go, 171. Okay. And now I divide by 19. And that gives me 9. Type that into your calculator. 171 divided by 19 is 9. Okay, so we got our x equals 9. And now I just have to find y. I'll just use the top equation. So 3 times 9 plus 2y equals 31. So I have 27 plus 2y equals 31. I'm going to subtract 27 from both sides. And then y equals 2. There we go, our x and our y. We just did elimination method twice. Okay, you guys have your assignments.